Good afternoon. Am I audible? Yeah, thank you. So welcome back, post-lunch session. The most difficult session always. I mean, I don't know if I'm sleepier or you were sleepier, but I'll try my level best. The topic that I have been bestowed by Business World, thank you number one Business World and Dr. Batra for having me here, is founder's mantra for creating wealth, and there's an apostrophe there, to get more, give more. You know, the topic is strange in multiple sense, right? Because it assumes that the speaker who's going to speak on this topic has number one made wealth. And the second it assumes is that he or she has made wealth by giving more, right? So that's the topic I'm here to speak on. What I've done is, when I got the topic, I assumed that there'll be a nice little panel here, and I'll be sitting with one of them, a moderator asking questions. And I was quite surprised when I was invited and I realized I am the only speaker, right? So that's another good 20-25 minutes that I have to speak. What I've done in the interim is, I have decided to break this whole 20-25 minutes that I'm going to be speaking into 4 parts. All 4 parts are very close to me. They're from my life, and they all have an outcome that I like to share. Eventually, I'm assuming when you add up all those 4 outcomes, you should be able to get a perspective on the topic here. Is that okay with everyone? Thank you. The first part of the conversation is actually a nice little poem. This poem was penned by my father. Unfortunately, he's not anymore. He left us on 15th of October this year, so it's not a eulogy, but it's a nice little poem that he penned. And I'll share this poem with all of you here because perhaps the last gift to all of us. And it should also set the tone for what I'm here to speak on. And the poem is like this. It's in Hindi, so if anybody, I can obviously translate it a little later, but it's in Hindi, the poem, so I'll say that. ये जीवन क्या है सोचा है, माया का खेल अनोखा है, यहां चलते फिरते सब चल देते, यहां किसने किसको रोका है। बहुधीर हुए, विद्वान हुए, जाने कितने बलवान हुए, अब कहां हैं वो कहां गए, ये जीवन एक झरोका है। इस काल चक्र की परिधि में सब चलते फिरते दिखते हैं, विरला ही कोई ऐसा है जो केंद्र में उसके टिकता है। जो ठहर गया वो बुद्ध हुआ, जो ठहर गया वो बुद्ध हुआ, या कहिए जीवन मुक्त हुआ, वरना यूं ही आते जाते जीवन सबका व्यर्थ हुआ। ये जीवन क्या है सोचा है, माया का खेल अनोखा है। Right? That's a poem, and I'm sure my dad would be very proud that somebody recited this poem. But why did I share this poem? I think this poem, as the first outcome of my learning, has been that everything is absolutely transient. Everything is temporary. By the end of our journey, at some point of time, God bless us all, but at some point of time, we would have realized that we've only given, because there's nothing to really take away, right? So that just sets the tone for the topic for today. To get more, give more. That's all you can do actually, because you won't really end up taking anything away from you. So just give more, do good. That's the first part. The second is a short story again of my personal life, right? And I said, I'll keep building it over the next 3 episodes that I'll be sharing. The next one is another story of my childhood. So my dad had a very strange financial management structure, right? I come from a middle class family. And my dad was a retired bureaucrat, my mom a school teacher. And my dad had a very, very strange financial management system. He used to take out all the salary on the first of every month, put it in a brown envelope, and keep it in a drawer. That was his financial management structure. So I don't know how the government is working, but I'm certain it's doing well. So he took this out, he put it in a brown envelope, and he used to keep it in a drawer and saying, take what you got. So I used to go there and I used to take out whatever I wanted to for my, canteen, cricket, tennis, multiple things. My brother was I'm assuming was doing the same. My mother was doing the same, right? By the 20th of every month, I realized that there was hardly any notes left. There were some notes left, but hardly any notes left, right? Because we were taking it away, right? On the 21st, 24th, 25th, by the time, the last some notes were left, you started believing that, maybe I don't need this today. I can do it without this, right? Believe me, on every 30th and the 31st, right? And for the purest February 28th or 29th, there were still notes left in that brown envelope. Every single month. Which basically meant somewhere that between all of us, we were leaving these notes for each other. In an assumption that, you could take this, perhaps I don't need it anymore. Or I don't need it today, right? Very later in my life, I realized there are essentially only two kinds of culture. First is a culture of abundance. You think abundance. You build abundance. You give abundance. And the second is a culture of entitlement. This is mine. This was supposed to be mine. Extract as much as you can. The first one assumes a system where you believe that, okay, you can create abundance by thinking for the other. And in the second one, it assumes that life is a zero-sum game and that somebody has to lose if you've got to win. I, fortunately, because of this strange financial practice, believe, and as you will see in my later two stories, believe that it is about abundance. So as founders today, if you're not thinking abundance, I don't think you're thinking very clearly. You've got to be thinking for others. You are at best custodians of building a business. You're building this business for the people who work with you. You're building this business for the people who have supported you. And eventually, because this grows into such a big giant, it takes care of you, right? So there's a culture of abundance. So the first one I said was, it's a transient nature, right? So we sometimes just over-assume ourselves in thinking that, let me take whatever I can take. The second one is culture of abundance over culture of entitlement. The third is a little longer story. So I am also a founder at Pratham Test Prep, right? Among other things, I'll share that story with you now. And Pratham is what Akash is to science, Pratham is to commerce. So few of you might have heard of the test. I founded that company in 2008. Till 2008 to 2012, I'll be as honest as possible because I've promised Dr. Batra to be honest today in sharing numbers, facts, and figures. Till 2008 to 2012, I was actually a pseudo-entrepreneur. Now you might want to know what's a pseudo-entrepreneur. A pseudo-entrepreneur is a person who doesn't take the risk himself. So what does that mean? I was building Pratham as a part of another financial group where I was given 24% to build that, right? I was given 24% and I was drawing some salary. The salary never came. That's a separate part. That's a separate discussion. But I was building it as a pseudo-entrepreneur. So 2008 to 2012, I was building for somebody else. And I realized it's not possible for one person to build this. So what I did was I shared my 24% with two other partners because my financial large conglomerate that was supporting the venture refused to share any equity further. I said, okay, no worries. So 24% was shared with two more partners into, so 8, right? That's the match. One of the partners left, so it became 12 and 12. 2008 to 2012, while we were building this, 2012, the larger financial conglomerate partner said, Pranav, it's time to call it quits. Thank you so much. I said, wow, now that sounds like a dream. Okay. And he said, I'm looking to sell the venture because I need money. And they had done some investments we didn't do very well. That's another story. But yeah. So I said, but we've built this business completely, ground up. We've actually spent 12 hours a day teaching kids. We've put our names on the line of fire, and we've done whatever we could. He said, so sorry, I have to sell. So I said, okay, what's the offer on the table? He said, I need about 2 crores. The number exactly was 1.91, but 2 crores. 2 crores, right? Now, I am coming, as I said again, from a middle class family. My dad, you now know, is keeping notes in a brown envelope, right? So that's my background. And my partner's background was very similar. He said, so where do we get 2 crores from? We've been given a week. And at that time, unfortunately, I didn't know Dr. Batra very well. He would have been the first person I would have approached, but I didn't know him then. So I said, okay, 2012, 2 crores, 1 week. I went to my dad and I asked him, do you have any notes left from those bound envelopes? He said, okay, I'll do something. I'll pull up something from here and there and life savings, etc. worth about 55, 60 odd lakhs. I said, good. Something done. I went to Ankit. Ankit went to his parents. Similar amounts, 55, 60 done. So we had about 1 crore. Now we had 1 crore left. We didn't know what to do. So we went to another gentleman, Mr. Sood. Mr. Sood at that time was a 64-year-old retired banker. So we went to him and he said, sir, can you help us with 1 crore? He laughed at us. He said, what kind of a joke is this? What do you mean by help? I said, I need 1 crore. And I need 1 crore in 5 days. Can you help us with 1 crore? He went inside, spoke to his wife, God bless them, very, very fine couple, and came out and said, okay, I'll mortgage my house and get you 1 crore. Right? This is a 63-year-old gentleman. He knows us. He doesn't know us that well. He's went inside to his wife, taken about 6-7 minutes, and come back and said, 1 crore to you by mortgaging my house. I said, wow. Right? And we were all sitting across the table like this, a circular table. And Ankit was speaking, I was speaking, Mr. Sood was speaking, and I immediately said, sir, we'll be having 100% of this company now. Do you want a 1/3 share? And he laughed. He said, I can only do debt, Pranav. I can only do debt. I can't do equity at my age. I said, this is not equity. This is debt. 1/3 comes from our side. And Ankit looked at me. I didn't look at him. I said, 1/3 comes from my side. He said, why are you being so generous? I said, because I believe you are the right partner with whom we would like to build this company. And so it happened, right? Ankit, a week later, also came around it. But this happened, and Sood was like completely confused on why this has happened to him. And we said, okay, we will return your debt in 2.5 years, but you get 1/3 of the equity as well. So there are 3 partners now. The 3 of us still exist as partners today. The company, we are not VC funded, we are not VC backed, we don't have VC valuations, but the company is worth about 350 crores. So we've done reasonably well on that company, right? My third lesson from this was sharing gives stability, right? 28-year-old kids have no clue how to run companies. We're pseudo founders. We didn't know how to make company. We didn't know how to make processes. We didn't know anything. We were just hard-working kids. Now there was a gentleman, we took his help, built processes, systems, and the company has done reasonably well. I'm not saying, it's the largest in its category. Yes, so it's a good small company. There's a decent PAT. We're very happy, right? So the third lesson that I learned was sharing gives stability, and I'll repeat the 3 for you. Life is transient, right? So please do not think too much. Share. Second, right, which was after the thing was that, culture of abundance over culture of entitlement. And the third is, sharing gives stability. The fourth one, another story, another real story from my life, right? So in 2012, after this happened, I retained my 1/3 equity and I moved on to help another venture. I moved to Bombay with them and very lucky, very, very lucky. We put in some capital from Pratham, it did very well. The founder there in Bombay was extremely good. He came from US, had a Citibank investment analyst background, and the 2 of us scaled that company, got that listed. So that was another great exit, but I'm not here to speak on that. That happened by 2015. 2015, I set up another company called Favcy Venture Builder, the company that you see my name with today, right? So at Favcy, I'll have to give you a little background before I start my fourth and the final story. Favcy is a venture builder. Basically, we co-build with startups, right? So we take an idea, we take a founder, we co-build with them, right? So it is like Ankit, Sood sir, Harsh Shetty, all my partners put together as a venture builder, saying that we'll help you to build a venture properly. So that's what we do. I also am a GP in another fund. I don't like to talk about it much because I really believe in building a strong, stable venture. Right? That's my philosophy. That's me as an operator. So no offense to anyone. Right? But that's the venture builder I built. The current story is, so when we came back 2015, I put in some money, and a family office in Pune put in 4 crores over 15 to 18, right, around that time. And 19, I was quite unwell, and obviously the company was finding it very difficult to sustain. That gentleman called up and he said, what do you think happens now to my money? And I said, you get an exit. That's what happens to your money. And he said, oh, Pranav, I just love you, man, but I know the state of the company right now. I said, don't worry. I've told you you'll get an exit, you'll get an exit. That was 2019. Cut to 2022. Right? There was a check of 20 crores lying on our table from an investor who wanted to put money in the venture builder. The venture builder did really well after that. So I mean, I'm assuming the hygiene checks are there, right? 19, 22, we scaled up, we did very well. 22, there was a 20 crore table check on my table where he wanted to put a primary in the company. And I asked him, I said, sir, he said, yes. Mega, would you mind if I give you more equity? He said, how do I get more equity? I said, by giving an exit to my previous partner. And he said, are you crazy? I'm putting this money in for you guys. Take the money, grow the company. I said, I'll grow the company irrespective. But will you be okay to give an exit to my previous partner? He said, okay, help me, make me meet him. So I flew Mr. Goyal from Pune to Ahmedabad. We were sitting together, we had a chat. And I asked him, Rohit, do you want to stay? Do you want to go? And he said, I'm a family office. I'd like to, I said, okay. I got the answer. I went to the gentleman. I said, sir, he's happy to transfer your equity. It's substantial. Would you want to just take that right now? And Mr. Shah in Ahmedabad was like, wow, I mean, you have some courage to just say no to 20 crores lying on your table. I said, doesn't really matter. Why? Because if I don't give you, as a custodian of the business, an exit to Rohit Goyal, I'll not be able to give an exit to Mr. Shah. And my job today is not to just keep all the money for ourselves, but to grow the company for all the stakeholders so that the company really creates wealth. Very happy to announce that worked out very well. Rohit is very happy. Would be in Spain dancing on grapes, but that's a good story for him. At the same time, what happened was that this Ahmedabad ecosystem really picked us up, grew us in a period of 1 year. We are about to announce an acquisition of another venture builder I think will be combined value about 400 to 450 crores. Now that's the story that I just wanted to share. As I said again, I am not the biggest, in terms of valuations or wealth, etc. But I know what I've done, and I just believe that ultimately, if you combine all these 3-4 lessons, the pivotal moments have always been where we decided to give more, right? So that's how I would like to, I've also crossed my time, but that's how I would like to just, make you think a little, pause a little, and just go back on all these 4 things. I think founders today are literally thinking too much about themselves. I would really urge you. I'm an operator, venture builder. I've been, as I said, a partner to a fund. But I would really urge all the founders here, if there are, right, to take a step back and realize you're just custodians of business. Please learn to give more, because if you give more, you get more. Thank you very much. Okay, here goes. ये जीवन क्या है सोचा है, माया का खेल अनोखा है, यहाँ चलते फिरते सब चल देते, यहाँ किसने किसको रोका है। बहुधीर हुए बलवान हुए, जाने कितने विद्वान हुए, अब कहाँ है वो कहाँ गए, ये जीवन एक झरोका है। इस काल चक्र की परिधि में सब चलते फिरते दिखते हैं, विरला ही कोई ऐसा है जो केंद्र में इसके टिकता है। जो ठहर गया वो बुद्ध हुआ, जो ठहर गया वो बुद्ध हुआ, या कहिए जीवन मुक्त हुआ, वरना यूं ही आते जाते जीवन सबका व्यर्थ हुआ। थैंक यू।